Are you curious to know what toy inventors did to pitch their toy ideas to executives at Toys R Us? Well, in this video, I'm going to share how I worked with toy inventor concepts as a product developer at Toys R Us. If you are an aspiring toy creator and you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified every time I post a new video about making it in the toy industry. My name's Azhelle Wade, aka The Toy Coach, and I've worked in the toy industry for over 11 years. Now I help mission-driven toy creators make their toy dreams a reality. Do you want to start pitching ideas to toy and game companies today? Well, then tap the link in the description to download my list of toy companies with online inventor portals that accept submissions all year round. Let's get into today's video. I worked at Toys R Us for almost 3 years before they shut the doors. But while they were open, it was one of my most beloved jobs. They had the best company-wide events. Not only did I get to meet Jeffrey numerous times, I met a few Rockettes, and even entered a costume competition dressed as a clown. Not to mention all the incredible toy design work I got to do. During my time working at the corporate office at Toys R Us, I actually held 2 jobs. First, I was the design manager over all of Girls World brands, which means I led the design choices for the following toy brands: Journey Girls, You and Me, Just Like Home, Baby So Sweet, and Totally Me. I think that was all of them. But hang on, I said I worked 2 jobs, and that second job was the product development manager over the Totally Me brand. That means during my time at Toys R Us, I developed all of the products that lived under that Totally Me brand. Now, most of the time, I would come up with the product ideas myself and develop them with the help of a factory overseas. But sometimes a company or inventor would come to me with a really cool toy invention or craft invention that I just couldn't get enough of. So here is how that happened. The first way that inventors got in touch with me were phone calls. Working as the product manager for Totally Me, I would get random calls all the time. People would find out that there was a new person on the brand and they would call to introduce themselves. They'd say something like, "Hey, Azhelle, this is Timothy from Toys and Tims, and we used to sell product to Totally Me all the time. We have some really great stuff that I think you're gonna love, so why don't we set up a time to meet? We'll come to the office, no problem." So usually, if I thought these people were legit, we'd make a plan to meet at the corporate Toys R Us office, which was called the TRU campus. And I would plan and reserve a conference room for us to meet in. So once we had that meeting, usually they'd come with boxes and PowerPoint presentations to show me concepts of inventions and physical prototypes. Every once in a while, a pretty cool toy or craft toy idea would just stand out over all of the rest, and I'd say, you know what, let me take that back to my desk and experiment with it. I think we have something here. And of course, they loved that. The second way that inventors, inventor studios, or even toy enthusiasts would submit product ideas is through email. Somehow they would discover my email address, and some of them would just straight up pitch me in email, which I have to say, you should never ever do. Totally a way to get your email blacklisted and forwarded over to a toy company's legal department, because the toy industry is very serious about protecting intellectual property. Luckily, most of the emails I got were from experienced toy inventors or toy inventor studios. So they would just ask to either set up a phone call or a time to meet in person. Usually, again, that'd be at the TRU campus or at an upcoming trade show. So you might be wondering, what would inventors say when they pitched me via email? Well, they would sometimes tell me they had a great relationship with the previous product development manager of the Totally Me brand, which I worked on. And of course, they were doing that to try to influence how I would respond, assuming that I might have a relationship with that person, or that I would just trust that person's judgment and believe that they could bring value to the company that I worked for and the projects that I was working on. Of course, whenever anyone would try to say they had a relationship with the previous manager of Totally Me, I would go back to my colleagues and try to vet that information. So don't you ever lie, because it can be fact-checked. If you do want to reach out to toy companies to pitch your toy ideas or inventions, aiming to contact the product development manager or the brand manager of a particular brand is a perfectly good start. Before we move on, I want to ask you, have you ever tried to cold call or cold email a toy company executive to pitch an idea? Tell me the story in the comments. I want to hear if it worked out for you. Let's get into the last way that inventors would pitch to me when I worked for Toys R Us, and that's through toy trade shows. Now, because of COVID-19, almost all of our favorite toy trade shows have been canceled or moved online. But in-person trade shows were really the best way for inventors to forge new relationships, and because we all would gather at these massive trade shows in one location, it was a really easy way to maintain existing relationships. But now that we don't have that, it can be a little bit more challenging. But toy trade shows are coming back. Not all toy industry trade shows were canceled because of COVID. There still are some happening in person today. So what would happen at toy trade shows is I would walk the floor and look at new and exciting brands. Sometimes I would like to see brands that I already knew, and sometimes I would like to explore emerging or brand new products that I'd never seen before. What was really interesting is that at these trade shows, no one ever expected that I would have a high-profile position at such a major company like Toys R Us. I didn't really walk with that high-profile air. I looked young, so often people would treat you a certain way, maybe not that nice, until they saw your badge. And then they would see my badge and they would say, oh, it's Toys R Us. And they would ask questions like, what do you do for them? And once they realized I worked in product development and I developed private label product, they would treat me completely differently. They would invite me into their booth, offer some snacks, or even samples of product for me to take back to my office and consider to bring into the line. Sometimes people wouldn't know what a product development manager at Toys R Us did. So I would have to explain. I develop a global assortment of product for this specific arts and crafts brand called Totally Me. And once I told them that, their eyes would light up. They would get so excited because they understood that that meant this was an opportunity for them to pitch their best craft invention products to possibly be considered in their line. And even if they had products that really wouldn't fit Totally Me, but they knew it would fit another private label Toys R Us brand, they were still excited because they knew that now they were in touch with someone who worked at this major toy company who could connect them with another product development manager that would have the brand that would be a perfect fit for their invention. And I gotta be honest with you, it's kind of true. All product development managers at Toys R Us, we for the most part, really knew each other. A lot of us worked on the same floor, and I could easily introduce someone if I found that their product was really interesting and innovative. And what was fun is that I would love to go to one of my colleagues and say, hey, I've got something that is going to blow your brand out of the water. You've got to see this. That would only help my relationship with them, so I'd be happy to do it if the product is truly as amazing as the inventor believed it was. What I loved about toy trade shows is once people got excited about what you did working for Toys R Us and that you were interested in their product, they would just give you samples. I would get tons and tons of samples to take back to the corporate TRU office to play with them and see if they could be a fit for the brands that I worked on. Sometimes I would get to do costing exercises, working with the inventor to see if we could turn their invention into something more cost-effective for the specific brand that I was managing. I do have a tip for you. If you are an inventor and you're trying to pitch to major executives at toy companies like Toys R Us, I want you to remember to do this one thing: follow up. Okay, these toy executives that you're pitching to have 1,000 things on their mind. If they took your sample but haven't gotten back to you, likely it's because they're just so overwhelmed with other work that they have to do that they forgot. And it doesn't mean that they're just not interested in your product. Likely they would welcome a little reminder nudge from you just to let them know, hey, remember we were supposed to get in touch about this item. Are you interested or not? I just want to make sure that this doesn't fall off your radar. Now, I'm not saying you want to pressure these executives, but a little nudge never hurt anyone. Honestly, I had samples sitting on my desk sometimes and I would think, oh, I love that inventor and I love this item. I need to reach out to them and follow up. And then we'd be called into a staff meeting, or my phone would ring off the hook, or a new sample would come in. So it's really easy for executives doing a bunch of different things to get distracted even away from something that we really care about. Since you've made it this far in this video, I've got a feeling you would love the chance to pitch your toy or game ideas to top toy and game companies today. If that's true, why don't you tap the link in the description below to download my list of toy companies that have online inventor portals that accept submissions all year round. Be sure to subscribe to this channel and check out my video on the first step toy inventors should take when they have a new idea. Until next time, I'll see you later, toy people.